welcome to tonight's episode of Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel, and as always, I have a very special guest for you, City Council candidate Anthony Beckford. He'll be with us for the next 30 minutes, so stay with us. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Beyond Focus TV allows you to discuss contemporary topics affecting the Caribbean people on both a national and local level. The show features informed guests who offer insight, debate, and evaluate various issues. Beyond Focus TV builds on the station's mission to provide useful information to the Caribbean people in New York and abroad. Beyond Focus TV, where our viewing audience can get educated, informed, and empowered. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. Like I said, I have a very special guest for you, Anthony Beckford. No stranger to the Beyond Focus family, but we're glad to have you back again. Post-COVID, definitely trying to keep everything together. Yeah. And here we are. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Of course, new viewers, we get new people watching us, so we're going to do a reintroduction. We're going to do a re-intro. Why don't you kind of tell us, for those who may not be familiar, who is Anthony Beckford?
Oh, man. For one, the most important thing is I'm a single father. Single father to an 8-year-old beautiful daughter, who's a leader in her own right as well. I'm a city council candidate. I'm a U.S. Marine Corps, disabled U.S. Marine Corps veteran. I'm a Black Lives Matter Brooklyn president and co-founder, president of the Brooklyn Chapter of Cowboys Patrol Unit, Mail County Committee member. Now, just got elected recently, and now, I'm running for city council for District 45, to bring the changes that I've been doing through the movement, into politics as well.
Right. So that's a lot. You definitely are in the community. You're rooted in the community. You do quite a bit. So that's amazing work. Why don't you tell us about what led to this point? Because you don't just wake up one day and be like, I'm going to be city council. There was a lot of work that kind of led up to this. So why don't you share the lead up?
I could basically say that my focus in the politics started at the age of 12 from, advocating. I went to Winthrop Junior High School, ICE 232. So, we were considered, open-minded kids. We're very focused on our needs and so forth. We pushed the envelope. We put pressure, on our principals and on our teachers and stuff. But then at that time, they were about to rezone our school, which meant that they were going to take funding away from the school. Everything they're doing now. At the age of 12, I was able to stop that. I was able to go, combat against, 6 powerful white men who are in charge of the board, especially Chancellor Gardner, who ended up, after a while, after getting to know him, ended up being a very cool person, but he was the one who gave me the platform to talk at the age of 12. He introduced me to this, to my fellow peers the next day as work that I did the night prior in the emergency vote that they took to not rezone. And since then, I just took off running. I started advocating for basically everything, and it's one of the things where you're a child, but you're an adult at the same time with the issues and stuff, but I still was able to enjoy my childhood, but I always focused on the things that I needed so that way I can enjoy my adulthood. Then I went to the Marine Corps, the same thing there. I advocated with that. I was in the music industry. I advocated for, artists to be independent, to, do their own thing, especially black artists, and when it came to politics, it literally took me coming back from the Marine Corps and looking around my community, and those things were still the same.
Yeah, because if you could leave and come back and be like, I left.
Yeah, I left for a while too.
I left it. That's a problem.
Yeah, I left. I left. Went to the Marine. Went to college. Then went to the Marine Corps, and then I even moved to Canada. Then moved to Michigan, and they came back to New York, and I was like, no, this cannot be happening. We cannot have the same old business as usual. The status quo. Just being untouched, unpressured. Establishment. Ruining our lives while they get richer. So then that's when I dove into politics, and and at that time, that's when I was developing my name and my stance in the movement here in New York. Anyway, so I was what the politicians were calling a rabble rouser. And I told them that's a good title because that means radical, and that means that you're going against the grain of the establishment. So from there, I just took off, with civically engaging the community, teaching them, especially the youth. Which is why, with my daughter, 8 years old, she could tell you who the city council person is, who the congressperson is, who the mayor is, who the borough president.
Okay.
Matter of fact, she met most of them who she know that, are not for the people. She have told them, I don't like you, and my daddy's going to make sure that things are right, and this is what I try to get the youth to be more involved in, because at that time, that's when they'll understand your reign of just freeloading off the people will end. And then I formed Black Lives Matter Brooklyn. I'm the co-founder of that. We formed that in the late 2018 because there was truly no representation in the movement for the people at all here. It was just the same business as usual again. And I was like, no, we're going to change that.
Yeah, we rant a little bit, we make some noise, it cools down.
And there's no movement, yeah. And that's it. And I got tired of us having to always go to Manhattan to do protests. I'm like, no, there's issues happening here in Brooklyn. There's issues in Flatbush, East Flatbush, Bed-Stuy, Brownsville. Like, who's gonna actually focus on these issues? So from there, I developed a youth chapter. I developed a CUNY chapter. We just developed a NYCHA chapter, and we're about to actually work with some clergy to form a clergy chapter as well too. Because we're like, not only we're going to focus on the issues of police brutality, but we're going to also focus on the issues when it comes to spirituality. We're going to focus on the issues when it comes to what the youth want. We want to hear their voice. We want to make sure that they're amplified, and they're respected. We want to make sure that people understand that when we talk about housing, we're not only talking about tenants in apartment buildings, but we're also talking about homeowners. But then we're specifically also talking about NYCHA, because NYCHA seems to be forgotten about. And we can no longer have that, because that's why you see now the city council is trying to privatize NYCHA, and nobody's really saying anything about it. So now we're making noise about it, saying that's not going to happen. Even if we have to run off some developers, and so be it.
I did not hear about that. That's how hush this is.
Oh yeah. It's called the RAD program. So literally, it is to privatize NYCHA. They're saying because this will help alleviate the costs and the deficit that they have.
How is that going to help?
All it's going to do is help them to make more money.
Because once it becomes private, they could do whatever they want to those people living there.
Exactly. So what it is, they're saying, oh yeah, we're going to expand Section 8 for NYCHA. NYCHA is a Section 9. So what we're saying is, no, leave Section 9 alone, expand Section 9, strengthen and protect Section 9 in the NYCHA developments, expand Section 8 for the rest of the apartments throughout the city. Bring true rent stabilization, expand on universal rent control. So we're bringing a platform that a lot of them are now calling it liberal and stuff like that. But and then they're condemning it as socialist. But it's like there's nothing to condemn as socialism, because if you look at a lot of our ancestors and our elders who fighting for a socialism platform. The platform was for the people. Anything's for the people, they seem to deem it as being evil, as wrong, because it's against the grain of capitalism. But capitalism was created off of our bodies. So capitalism cannot continue to exist. Because that's the same thing they're doing now. Even our politicians who are black, they're doing the same thing. They're serving a master that's not our people.
And you can't serve two masters.
Exactly.
Essentially, there's going to be a clash along the way. And that's great. You brought up some great points, because I did not know that about NYCHA. And even with Section 8, Section 8 is such a loophole, because people I know who personally were like, I'm not going to accept that. There's ways.
We need strengthening on a lot of these things. They purposely create loopholes.
And I'm like, they're just not, they'll have every reason why to not take your voucher.
Exactly. But not only that, they're not penalized for not taking your voucher. It's supposed to be against the law or against, city ordinance or whatever for them not to accept your voucher. But they still deny it. But who's really, enforcing things? Who's the oversight? But the same way too, when you look at it, they could not the Department of Housing, HPD and stuff like that could find a way just to kick you off of Section 8. Exactly. Just because you may not have the correct amount of pay stubs to hand in, because your job is like, well, we'll give you pay stubs soon, and then you got to wait on them, and next you're off of Section 8.
But hold that thought. Yeah. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. Back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. So Anthony, tell us about Black Lives Matter Brooklyn, because living in Brooklyn, being from here, we, like you said, the last couple months when we really saw these protests, for the first time I got to walk on Flatbush and be like, oh shit, There's thousands of people outside. Like,
oh yeah,
it was lit.
Oh yeah. The thing is, many of these groups have been there. It's just a fact of, like I said, a lot of us will go to do something in Manhattan because that's where the main protests were. Mm-hmm. Everybody's meeting up at Foley Square or at the red steps of Times Square, and I just got tired of it. And a lot of groups, they were doing the actions in Brooklyn, but the media wasn't picking up on it. The media picks and choose what they're gonna do. I'm not even gonna put all the media on the phone, but we're gonna talk about mass media. They pick and choose because it's about ratings to them.
Because News 12 Brooklyn did show it a lot.
Yeah, and I at least give it to them because they've always been. I always call them the ground, the grassroots, type of media because, like, they're everywhere.
Yeah, but Channel 7, you're 2, 4, and
they won't even cover a missing black child. That's how the issues are. So off of that, I always tell people to also develop our own media, to expand on our independent media because that's how literally that's how we get the platforms heard.
Yeah.
But in regards to Black Lives Matter Brooklyn, like I said, there was a Black Lives Matter New York, but then they disbanded. But we still were part of various groups.
Brooklyn's its own state.
Brooklyn, USA. But the thing is that there was still no representation within Brooklyn itself. I saw the dire need. I saw that the youth were losing hope. Our elders were like, what's the use? Nothing's going to change. People are not being civically engaged. People were not caring anymore because they're like, what's going to change? So I was like, okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to form this organization and we're going to make it happen. And we were still getting a little bit of backlash because people are looking at the Black Lives Matter National and they're like, oh, but, they were formed and they're against, the forming of a black family. They're mainly a LGBTQ platform. And I'm like, when we say black lives, we mean all black lives.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't have to put all in the beginning for you to understand that. But at the same time, we are independent of national anyway because we are Brooklyn. National doesn't come to Brooklyn. Black Lives Matter Brooklyn is from Brooklyn.
Right.
And what killed a lot of people when they found out that a person of Afro-Carib descent was a president and co-founder, they were like, hold up. So this dude who's Jamaican American is out here making this noise? And it's like, yeah, like
about to be a half Jamaican vice president.
Exactly. Like the diaspora is out here and people need to realize it. We have to stop being divided by what the system put in place and stop with their narrative and focus on the fact of we're out here. No matter if I'm Afro-Carib, Afro-Latino, Afro-Asian, African-American, we're black.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, this melanin is what we're representing. So we took off with that. My co-founder, bless her, she's our legislative director. So we hit in the legislation as well too. We push a lot of bills through in the state and in the city. We got de Blasio to do the murals. A lot of people, condemn the murals because we didn't ask for that. Like, it's not about your ask. It's about what's needed at this point, especially when there's families who've lost loved ones to police violence, who sacrificed the reason why we're out here in the first place.
Yeah.
What they ask is what we answer to. So the mothers of the movement wanted, murals. Eric Garner's mother, Miss Carr, wanted a mural when we was in that meeting. So we were like, okay, de Blasio, we need that mural. If not, it's going to be issues. He jumped on it, and we did 5 murals. And then we also did the one in front of Trump Towers. Just a little pettiness on our point.
No, well, let's talk about,
you're
talking about legislation. You're running for city council.
Yeah.
District 45, okay? So first, for everyone who may not know, what is covered on District 45?
District 45 is Flatbush, East Flatbush, Midwood, Marine Park, Flatlands, and Kensington. Technically, all those are still Flatbush. But we understand how the development divided. Yeah.
PLG. I was like,
yeah.
The first time I heard PLG, I'm like, what? They're like, Prospect, Lefferts, Garden. I'm like, you live on Flatbush.
Yeah, it's Flatbush.
It's Flatbush.
But still, whoever even took to the adaptation of the names, or whoever still sticks with Flatbush, East Flatbush, something like that. We're letting them understand, like, this movement of Black lives is not saying that we're better than or that our lives matter more than. That's why we're bringing it into politics. It's to say this is literally the issues that are going on that our community that is black is facing on a daily basis. Housing issues. They tell us affordable housing, but everything that goes up is minimum $2,000 rent. And then even if it is below that, you have to make $50,000. Who's really having a pay equality in the black community when it comes to anybody
it's hard
else?
To make 50.
It's very hard. Very hard. My mother's been a school crossing guard for over 30 years, and I don't think she's ever seen even above $30,000 a year. So I've lived in the struggle. I've seen her not eat, just so that way I can eat. I've seen her, put money forth to put clothes on my back while she's still wearing the same shoes for years, type thing. And I learned from these things. So this is what I'm bringing into the politics as well too. Like, we have to do better, but to do better, we have to now make things better for ourselves. We cannot have people in place who will not answer our demands. We can't have people in place who are loyal to the establishment that has literally been criminalizing us, demonizing us, and making us suffer for so long now. Mm-hmm. I tell people my message and my platform is not just for my generation. It's for the youth all the way up to our elders, because that's who I'm protecting. That's who I'm trying to serve, on an expanded basis. So with housing, one of the things I'm pushing is, 100% affordable, low-income housing. So after affordable, I make sure I specify low income, because the word affordable has been tainted for so long. It's affordable for whom? So affordable income.
Who's the definition of affordable? Based on whose definition?
It's usually somebody who's come from Minnesota to over here, or from Arkansas, and
Ohio.
they're securing a 6-figure job while we're still living in the city and can't even secure, even above, a top 5-figure, job and so forth like that. So focusing on that, focusing on 35 to 40% rent rollback, for tenants. Focusing on 20 to 25% property tax rollback for homeowners. Matter of fact, we're even looking into the fact of making it to where homeowners who from their property taxes before these gigantic bills came up, to have it to where what their purchase price was when they first got their home.
Well, hold it right there. Yeah. We're going to take that break. We'll be right back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. So we left off, you're talking about all the great things in your mandate that you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Continue.
Well, the thing is, because people tell you, well, how will it get done? Legislation, the same thing that made it.
But will it get passed? All you can do is present it, correct?
Yeah. All I can do is draft it, introduce it, but then that's where the power of the people come in at. That's where we form protests. We have conversations, and we apply the necessary pressure. City council right now in 2021, there's going to be 35 to 36 open seats. I tell people there's going to be 37, because I'm taking back one of the seats for the people. Because at the end of the day, we have to make sure we have a majority of people who are progressive, that are coming forward to make these changes happen. And when you look at the candidates that are running for these seats, these candidates are all progressives. They've been, in the community. They've done mutual aids during COVID-19. A lot of them have done food distributions and mass distributions with me. And we're not even looking at the borderlines of districts. We're going and serving the people all over. These are the type of people that you want fighting for you in city council, in those chambers of city hall. So these are the people I'm going to support. These are the people I know that when we lay down this platform, when we lay down this legislation, they will vote on it. And it's about building the relationships beforehand, but knowing who's running, so that way you can hold them accountable as well too. Because it's not just going to be myself holding them accountable. They got to answer to the people in their district. They got to answer to the organizations that are going to endorse them. And a lot of these organizations are not the ones to just sit back and take lip service. They want to see your commitment before you even decide to run. Absolutely. And that's what we have to focus on. And like I said, housing is the main thing, police accountability is the main thing. You see the whole defunding the police, $1 billion that really did not get defunded. The police are actually above their budget because they just got I think $600 million more because of the overtime and so many other games that the city council now played and the mayor played. Now What I'm doing is introducing a $2.5 billion redistribution from the NYPD to the community. And what people need to understand is that money is not the NYPD's money. That's money that was stolen from our community and given to the NYPD. Our elected officials chose incarceration over education. They chose incarceration over job securities, incarceration over health care, incarceration over community cleanups, over clean spaces, over green spaces, incarceration over housing. Right now, what a lot of people don't understand is even the city council now, they just recently voted for $11 billion in capital funds to be put forth to build 4 new jails. What do we need 4 new jails for when we don't even have adequate education system? We don't even have proper housing. NYCHA needs to be fully funded and fixed. But that shows you their mindset. That shows you what their agenda is. And the person I'm running against, that person voted on that.
Wow.
So if you vote to incarcerate, to build new jails, we all know who they're going to put in these jails. It's going to be our people. It's going to be our community.
Yeah, it's black and brown people.
Exactly. And what happens when they do that? That means now the landlords get to now say, well, your house is up for grabs. Developers come in. It's all a way of displacement for land grabs. This is just the way the system's been working from the beginning when this land was just originally indigenous. So we have to learn from these issues and these tactics and then combat them in the modern day time. And that's what we're doing by putting ourselves, on the electoral ballots, so that way the people can vote for us. Showing the people like, we didn't highlight our faces and our voices in the beginning because we wanted to do the work without clout chasing. But now we're still not clout chasing, but we want you to see who's been out here doing this work, so that way you don't think that's your elected official who just showed up for a photo op in the middle of our stuff and then bounced out 15 minutes later.
Exactly. How do people at home get in contact with you?
Oh, man. So they can email me, voteforanthonybeckford@gmail.com. On Instagram and on Facebook, it's Anthony Beckford, the number 4, City Council. And for Twitter, it's vote4 Beckford. But
spell out the email address.
So the email is VOTE FORANTHONYBECKFORD@gmail.com. I answer all of my emails. I reply to all of my emails personally.
And it's you.
Yeah, I do all my tweets, all of my posts in the IG and Facebook, because I feel that the people need to be able to be in contact with me, and I need to respond to them openly and not just send them to this assistant or that assistant. No, we already know those games of deflection.
That is true, and I think it's important that you are showing a lot of care, and you're coming with something great that I think the community, especially the district that you represent, like East Flatbush, has. I mean, we see it. It's not fully gentrified yet, but it's gentrified enough.
We're literally the last stronghold in Brooklyn against full-on gentrification. They literally are surrounding us with gentrification and trying to come in. But you have many organizations like Equality for Flatbush. Like Imani and them, they pushing forward. That's why I tell people, you see Imani out there fighting. You'll see me out there fighting too, because this coalition that we built in our community of advocates and groups to move forward and fight for our people, because nobody's doing it. Our electeds aren't doing it. They're taking money from real estate.
So the big thing, November, they got to come out and support you.
Well, my election is in 2021.
2021, that is correct.
So definitely still go out November 3rd and vote. We got to get Trump out. But we also need to focus on Congress and Senate. We need to make everything fully democratic. That doesn't mean that things will be good. It just means that we need to apply more pressure on them as well too, because we do have a lot of corporate Democrats. It's citywide. We also have corporate Democrats, so they need to come out on June 22nd, 2021 to make sure they vote for myself. Even if you don't live in Flatbush and East Flatbush, you can come out, and support, volunteer, speak to your family members or your friends that do live in the area of Flatbush, East Flatbush, Marine Park, Midwood, Kensington, and Flatlands, and so like that. But also, they could go on my website, which is anthonybeckford.nationbuilder.com, and they will see all the events that I'm doing. They're able to sign up to volunteer. They're able to sign up to get updates about our next mask and food distributions for the community. They're able to donate as well too on there. Campaigns are not cheap.
You know that.
I'm eligible for matching funds for 8 to 1, so that's good. So $10 turns into $90. So we tell people, even if they only do 10, that's appreciative. Like, I'm not asking for big money. Same way I don't take big money from any donors.
And that's a big point, because a lot of people, they don't want to feel like, well, we put you here, so you kind of gotta pay the piper when you get in.
But that's what it is. You have people in city council right now who get money from the racist PBA and the SBA, which is the Police Benevolent Association. When you hear the rhetoric that's coming out of the presidents of these associations' mouths, but yet you see our own candidates or our own electeds taking money from them, you're like, well, do you really abide by that? And a lot of times it seems like they do, because they're wishy-washy on the policies that protect us. So, I've made it very clear that I'm not taking corporate money. I'm not taking fossil fuel money. I'm not taking any type of law enforcement money. The only money that I'll accept is money from the people, throughout the whole of New York City, throughout the whole nation, because that's who I answer to. That's who I'm beholden to.
Well, we are going to have you back, because before this election in 2021, we definitely want to have you back, get an update, know what's going on. Definitely. So I will love to have you back again. So
I'd love to come.
You'll be welcome. Awesome. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, you can send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. I'm your host, Lydia Patel. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back again next week. Same time, same place. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. Beyond Focus TV show wants and needs your feedback. Did we blunder? Please let us know so we can improve. Was the show helpful to you? Drop us a note so we can share the success with our staff members. Is there something you think we could do better? We welcome new ideas and new approaches to old ideas. Do you have a great suggestion? Let us know and we'll work on it. If you would like to share your comments anonymously, please send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. If you want to get in touch with the executive producer directly, send him an email at gene@beyondfocusmedia.com. We really look forward to hearing from you.